And as we did in Aladwa's case, we're also calling on the party leadership to which Kabogo belongs to issue a statement, perhaps distancing themselves from these remarks. We will wait and see, but we'll continue to press on this issue of hate speech, because we know where this country has been and how far worse things could get in 2017 and beyond. I'd like us to focus on something different now, and it's our discussion today on Checkpoint. And we're focusing on the economy. So let's give you some of those statistics first to put our conversation in perspective. And I will also be talking to Paul Wafula, who's our business writer at the Standard newspaper. An article that went largely unnoticed. The day that article was published, Brother Ochola was trending on Twitter. This is what you should be focusing on. Kenya's revenue tax collections are falling behind schedule, and this is what is worrying many in the country as to where we will get the money to be able to finance our economy and our budget and our infrastructure and a number of other projects we have in place, including devolution and the county government. So let's see how much money we have spent on paying our debts. 132.6 billion shillings. Now, this amount that was spent on repaying our debts is nearly half of the revenue that was collected in the country in the first 3 months, that is the first quarter of this year. Our public debt has also gone up by about 60% in the 30 months since President Uhuru Kenyatta took office. It is now at 2.934 trillion shillings. How much have we borrowed since this new administration came into power? Quite a bit. We have borrowed more in 3 years than Kibaki's administration did in 10 years. So these are just some of the things that should put this discussion into perspective. And this, of course, then talks about our GDP, our debt to GDP ratio. So let's take a look at that. It is now at 51.29%. When it crosses the 50% mark, then any government should be worried. Let's give you some comparative analysis. Rwanda is at 28% with this one. Tanzania is at 39.9%. Nigeria is at 10.5%. The US, which is what the CS Rotich was mentioning when I spoke to him exclusively last week, said, well, let's compare ourselves to the US. The US is at 102% of their debt to GDP ratio. The UK is far much higher at 89.4%. Well, we'll understand whether these comparisons should be used in this instance. So how much have we borrowed then? 1.1 trillion more since President Uhuru Kenyatta came into office. At that point, the debt in 2013 was at 1.8 trillion shillings. Let's take a look at the debt in 2015. That's this year, so you can take a look at that. It's, of course, 2.9 trillion shillings. So what is this affecting? Well, many services, including those at the county level, because we've heard from the chair of the COG, that's Governor Peter Munya, saying services at the county are coming to a standstill. They're still continuing to ask for money. And it's not just the counties that are suffering. You will know this if you supply any goods and services to the government. Contractors and suppliers are also complaining. They have not been paid for more than 6 months now. So let's take a look at some of these figures now and put them into perspective. All right, this is the figure we showed you at the beginning of this bulletin. Kenya's debt is rising by 40 billion shillings every month. Shall we break that down for you a little bit so that you can, into numbers that we can consume? Yes, that amounts to 1.3 billion shillings a day. And every minute, it comes to about 1 million shillings. Let's break it down further. It's 15,432 shillings that we are accruing as debt per second. So let's take a look at the time now. It's about 25 minutes after 9 o'clock. Now, we started our bulletin at about 2 minutes to the top of the hour. So that's 27 minutes ago. So 27 minutes since we started KTN Weekend Prime, our country has accrued 27 million shillings in debt.